You had Toussaint Louverture, right? Toussaint Louverture is the Haitian revolutionary, going to kick the French out, going to make Napoleon sell to Thomas Jefferson the Louisiana Purchase. I don't even know why we had the Louisiana Purchase, because we kicked the damn French out at the end of the French and Indian War, 1754 to 1763, so the French were gone. Why did we pay Napoleon anything? But apparently we paid Napoleon for a claim in between Spain and, it turned out okay for, America. But when he did that 1803, he also had the much celebrated Lewis and Clark expedition. He commissioned the Lewis and Clark expedition to check out the West. Let's see what we got. We just paid for this Louisiana Purchase, try to get as much land as we can. So yeah. Lewis and Clark. So, we had somebody better than Lewis and Clark, especially for the San Luis Valley here in Costilla County. And the man's name is Zebulon Montgomery Pike. Zebulon Montgomery Pike, there was the Pike expedition that Thomas Jefferson is going to commission for the same reason, to scout out the Louisiana Purchase, but instead of going up to Montana and going north to Washington, you had Zebulon Montgomery Pike going straight west and perhaps even a little bit southwest, straight into Spanish territory. A direct provocation, an intentional direct provocation. Zebulon Montgomery Pike. So he's only 27 years old. Zebulon Montgomery, they called him Montgomery. Zebulon's pretty, that's not a badass name. Pike's Peak. This is a 14er. Oh, we got a 14er right here. 14,000 foot plus mountain Pike's Peak. It's 12 miles west of downtown Colorado Springs in El Paso County, Colorado. Located in the Pike National Forest. It's the highest summit of the southern front range of the Rocky Mountains in North America. So, Pike's Peak. It's named after Zebulon Montgomery Pike because of the Pike expedition. And then Zebulon Montgomery Pike is going to get killed in the War of 1812, therefore solidifying his name in history forever and ever. This is 1807. War of 1812, he's going to die in just 7 years. After this, he's only 27 years old. He died, 34 years of age. I'm 38, so he's already, explored all these new territories, and then now he's dead. Something that's ironic, Zebulon Montgomery Pike, even though Pike's Peak is named after Zebulon Montgomery Pike, Zebulon Montgomery Pike never walked on Pike's Mountain, or on Pike's Peak. He tried to get the Pike's molehill, or tried to get on the mesa, or tried to do something, but he couldn't do it. But yeah, so Pike's Peak, Pike never reached Pike's Peak. So he might have been at the mountain, the base of the mountain, I'm not for sure, but he never reached the peak. So it's not like Pike climbed this mountain, and that's why we named it after him. He's the first one to conquer this mountain. He could barely even walk up the first rock. He tripped over the pebble at the very base of the foothills of the... So 6 months is how long Zebulon Pike is going to do his, Pike's expedition. Right? So Pike's expedition is going to be 6 months. He's going to start at St. Louis. And Pike and his crew, they're only going to start out with a handful of people. Like 20-something people, 21 people. The quote from the thing, 21 men started out in a keel boat. What's a keel boat? You're going to have to Google that. I forgot to. 70 foot long keel boat with 4 months' provisions, 21 men, so less than 24 men. Hey, here's a 27-year-old, got less than 24 men. Let's go wherever the hell he's... So Thomas Jefferson commissioned Zeb Pike, old Montgomery Pike, ZMP. That's what his friends used to call him, old ZMP. So what's ZMP up to? So I mention this because you also had... that Jacob Fowler, he only had 20 folks. You had Pike, he only had 20 folks. 21 in the keel boat, right? But when it comes to the Spanish expeditions, De Anza's caravan, you had 800 Spanish soldiers who, when he chased Greenhorn in 1779, so the Spanish governor of New Mexico, brought 800 Spanish soldiers up to the San Luis Valley, crossed it, went up to Colorado Springs, went all the way over to Manitou Springs, Colorado, chased Chief Greenhorn and the Comanche, just crisscrossing the Ute and all these other territories. Or Don Diego De Vargas, he got up here, and, he had about 400. He got up here 1694. That's the first of the written record. Who was the first European? Who was the first European in the San Luis Valley in Costilla County so far? The historical one, the one of historical importance that I've, believed so far, until somebody, shows me differently, is Don Diego De Vargas. So you had the 1779, that was during, the American Revolution. He's sitting there killing Native Americans during the American Revolution when we're kicking the British's ass, so we're not paying attention. And then Don Diego De Vargas, he comes all the way up, He's chased out of New Mexico by the Taos Puebloans. He's chased out of New Mexico by the Taos Puebloans. Vargas's Brady Bunch of 400. So anyway, just compare and contrast, right? These are caravans. These are also not just soldiers, but there's Franciscans and native servants and families, and so they're bringing, any and everybody. They're coming to settle. They're coming to conquer. So when you compare Pike and Jacob Fowler and, Lewis and Clark probably just had a handful of people. Those are just different, right? They just want to discover. They just want to look around and see what they could find. Versus, we've come here, we're taking everything over, fuck you, fuck your mother, fuck everything you believe. Time to give me your village. Give me all your gold, give me all your wealth, and give me your village. Get the hell out of here. So Taos Puebloans, right, kicked Vargas out of New Mexico. Taos Puebloans, that's home of the 1847 Taos Revolt. Don't forget about the 1847, never forget about the 1847 Taos Revolt. Also the 1680 Pueblo Revolt. Don't ever forget about that either. Vivon Tucson Luvetti. So, right, Glenn Fowler, 1822, he came here, saw some cottonwoods and willows and buffalo. He had about 20, so anyways, it's more of a discovery, right? We're just looking around, seeing what we could find. They're not saying, okay, I'm here and I've conquered this territory. Though, Zebulon Montgomery Pike, he's going to build a stockade in Conejos County, about 30 minutes away from here, from the Labato Bridge in Costilla. It's about in Sanford in Conejos County. He's going to build Pike's stockade, and that's going to be his final destination. So he went from St. Louis to Conejos County, Colorado. And they don't even, it's like the biggest, well-kept secret, the most open, most public, well-kept, everybody goes to the great sand dunes. San Luis Valley brags about the sand dunes as if it's the best goddamn fucking thing in the sand. It's dry desert out here. Who wants to go see more sand? You're already in a desert. I want to see an oasis. I want to go to a water park out here. Now that would be fantastic. I live in the sand. I don't want to go see more sand. Meanwhile, we got Pike's stockade, his final house, his final resting place. Okay, he's not buried there, but in the Pike's expedition, he crisscrosses America, gets to Conejos County, builds his little house with only about 10 men, and he's in the middle of, Indian territory, Spanish territory, and he raises the American flag up. So it's pretty audacious. Wilkinson, that, Spanish, he might have been a Spanish spy or some shit, but, they're kind of pushing Zebulon Pike into Spanish territory just to kind of see where the border is. Okay, where are they at? What can we take, right? Up to where their line is. So where is the line at? And while he's in Conejos County for 1 month, because he gets arrested by the Spanish authorities, and they take him all the way down to not just Santa Fe, but Mexico. So they arrest him, and they find out all the information that he had on his way there, but he was also documenting shit on the way down there. He's kind of almost treated like a celebrity, a prisoner of sorts, but a celebrity too. He says that the king or the governor. Okay, so let's get to the facts, right? So what are we doing here? What is the purpose of history? History is important to see how far we've come. History is important to coat the current, to paint the present. Because in some respects, there is no such thing as the past or the future. It's all the present. This is all we got, this moment now, and then that moment's gone, this moment here. The moment that continues, this continuous moment that never stops. That's the present. And so the future isn't really here, and the past isn't really here, but they paint, they coat the understanding of the present. So history has, its value, just like the future has its value, and imagination, and the present. Some people stay in the past or the future, and they never live in the present. So to live in the present, I guess I need to, I'll clap. And take a little drink of this little root beer. You just pour a little. Then you got yourself some root beer. So Zebulon, Montgomery, Pike. This is fantastic. This is like the biggest thing that I found out about the San Luis Valley, and it's so close to right here, right? You got the sand dunes, and you had Jacob Fowler, and you had some of these, Spanish governors, and what have you. But a major, Lewis and Clark expedition ended it here, got arrested, and then escorted down there by the Spanish authorities, and then they're going to laugh about the whole thing because Zebulon Montgomery Pike is actually going to get more information about the Spanish by being arrested and escorted all over their, country and towns. He was able to document everything that they had. So instead of just letting him be or, kicking him out, instead he got the, a big lion's share of information. And then as soon as they published it in Europe, it just sold like, wildfire. His journal, Zebulon Montgomery Pike's journal. So, bad call by the Spanish. I feel like they should have just took his information and him and probably, or just pushed him back or some shit. But instead, for some reason, they were, Spain and America was not at war. So, you had to kind of like, well, you did just kind of, you wandered over here. I know. Now wander on back. Nah, I know you just wandered. You was lost. There's Zebulon Pike. He's going to pretend, this ain't the Red River. This is the Rio Grande? No, this is the Red River. And, they didn't buy it because they still arrested him anyways. So Zebulon Pike, he fought, in the War of 1812. He's got some other things. In Pueblo, he's actually going to build the first structure in Colorado by an American. He's going to build the first structure in Pueblo City in Colorado by an American. So Zebulon Pike, Pike's Peak, Pike's Corner, Pike's Creek, Pike's Ice Cream. You have Pike all over the place. He's the one that crossed the Levada Mountains. So the Spanish did it a couple times, but he's the first Englishman, the first American who came into the San Luis Valley. So Zebulon Montgomery Pike is the first American to cross the Levada Pass over the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, or Madonna Pass, or whatever fucking pass. He crossed those damn mountains and got into the San Luis Valley. So Zebulon Montgomery Pike is just, the first. He's just all over the place. It's just like, just kicking ass, taking names. First in Colorado, first in Pueblo, first house in Pueblo, first house in Colorado, first across the Sangre de Cristo Mountains. And like I said, the first Englishman, the first American, not the first person ever, but the first one that we can, he writes his stuff and then we say, oh, we can read this, right? But of course, if it was in Spanish, we should just have it translated and reprinted in English. So let's get with the facts, okay? So January 31st to February 26th, 1807, he's going to reside at Pike Stockade. They've rebuilt, another comparable replica of Pike Stockade in Sanford, Conejos County, Colorado. So he sailed from St. Louis encampment 4 p.m. on a Friday, August 9th, 1805. So that's more than 6 months, right? That's a year and, 6 months. There was 1 sergeant, 2 corporals, and 17 privates. That's 21 men total, starting out in a keelboat, 70-foot-long keelboat with 4 months' provisions. So 1807, he's going to start out with 21 men, but in 1807, in the beginning of January, cold as shit, right in the heart of the winter, or in this, cold-ass desert, his men are going to get frostbitten. Their toes are going to get frostbitten, and then they had to be left behind with provisions because they couldn't walk, they couldn't move on forever and ever. They're going to be injured forever and ever. He had to leave his horses behind. He was just walking by himself when he finally got down, from Pueblo, he went southwest down Great Creek. So, this is a remarkable story. His stockade, he built a tunnel underneath, and then he makes the Spanish generals who arrest him, crawl underneath it too. So he's going to go, southwest down Great Creek from Pueblo. Then January 21st, he's going to get through Medanos Pass through the Sangre de Cristo Mountains. So that's the pass, right? So some people might be, oh, no, he came through the Sangre de Cristo Pass. Oh, no, he came through the La Veta Pass. Motherfucker, he crossed the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, the first motherfucker to get into San Luis Valley. You quit splitting hairs. So he's going to pass the great sand dunes. I wonder if Zebulon Pike, stood around and took pictures and, oh, look, here's some sand dunes. January 29th, 1807, he reaches the San Luis Valley, crossing the Medano Pass in the San Luis Valley into Imperial Spanish territory. January 30th, Pike and the 10 men still with him hopped off the Rio Grande, and then they go westward towards Sanford. So they cross Medanos Pass, and then they're coming across, hit the Rio Grande, and now they're coming down the Rio Grande, right here, but they don't come all the way down to my house. They stopped about 20-minute, drive up the river, and then made a left for me, but a right. They went west towards Sanford. Sanford, a Germantown that's got a home rule, which gives them a ton of autonomy and authority. So Pike is going to pretend, oh, the Rio Grande, I thought the Rio Grande was the Red River. Then he's going to build his fort 5 miles up the Conejos River from the Rio Grande, and then attempted to recollect his men who were strewn across miles of mountain behind him. They're frostbitten feet, toes, going to lose their limbs, and he just left them in the mountains with their horses. Right, here's some food. Good luck, brother. You can't keep walking, but I got to keep going. So Zebulon Pike, he basically had to get arrested after doing that shit. Fuck. He didn't have enough men, didn't have enough provisions, didn't have enough money. I mean, why are they getting so damn cold? You're going up the mountains. Did you not have enough blankets and, what have you? So he gets to Conejos County, 5 miles up the river, Conejos River, off the Rio Grande, not the Red River, like he pretends. He's going to say that he built himself a 36 feet square house. 6 foot by 6 foot? 36 square feet? Or 36 by 36? The replica went with 36 by 36. 6 by 6 seems too small, and 36 by 36 seems too big. He's going to dig up these heavy cottonwood logs, and they're 2 foot in diameter, 8 foot logs, 12 foot high. They had sharpened outward pointing pickets to deter attackers. And then there was a moat dug in the base, inside, and then the one around it. So they tried to take the Conejos River and the water and have it, encircle the cabin, encircle the log cabin fort. So to enter and exit, they had to crawl through a small hole at the base of the floor. There was like a little drawbridge that came up and down. They opened it, come through, crawl through, then closed it. And then Zebulon Pike is going to raise an American flag. So you got the Ute natives, you got the Spanish, you got, the Navajo, the Cheyenne, you had the Hopi, the Zuni. A lot of Native Americans were around here. And like the Spain, Spain definitely claimed this was definitely the Rio Grande. They said Spain claimed anything and everything that was touching the Rio Grande. So January 31st, Pike arrives at the mouth of the Conejos River, ascends the stream several miles, builds a stockade. Right then and there. It only takes him about a day. He's like super quick at, building this 36 by 36 by 12. February 2nd, Monday, 1807, Pike and the doctor, so Zeb, Montgomery, Pike, and the doctor go out hunting, kill a deer 7 miles from Pike's stockade. February 3rd, Zeb, Pike is reading. February 4th, Pike's men called a deer. He's not even talking about them having to build the damn stockade. He's just talking about we went out, tried to catch a deer, tried to do this, tried to do that. I think 10 men could build a nice, decent stockade. Natchitoches, when they finally, so February 5th, Thursday, he ascends a high hill. So this is a fantastic quote that he's got for the San Luis Valley, especially Costilla County and Conejos County, specifically Conejos County. So he's over there on the Conejos River, 5 miles away. February 5th, Thursday, he ascends a high hill. He ascends a high hill, one of the most sublime and beautiful inlet prospects ever presented to the eyes of man. The prairie lying nearly north and south is probably 60 miles by 45. Dog's barking, so there might be some. I'll come right back, but he's got a fantastic quote about the San Luis Valley. Peace.